Hello everyone and welcome back to now what is the day number 6 of the Dota Asia Championships, and we are in day 5 of group stage action. Just in our first heat, we got 6 heats coming for you today, and then possibly some tiebreakers depending on how these matches will go. To lead into here for BTS2, we got CDEC Gaming taking on MVP.Phoenix, and this is where things can begin to get pretty interesting here. For MVP.Phoenix, yes, they are down there at the bottom, side by side with Newbie, sporting a 1-12 record. But for CDEC, they are just on the cusp. They have a 4-9 record. They need a win here. And at that point, it's still not certain whether or not that they still have a life or not. It depends on how everything works out mathematically. But I got someone here who's able to probably provide a lot more information. My co-caster joining me for my opening matchup here along by my side is going to be Blaze. Blaze, buddy, I know you've been trying to crunch the numbers here. Can you give us an idea of what the scenario is looking like here for CDEC?
Well, for CDEC, it's a little bit more confusing than it is for MVP.Phoenix. Obviously, MVP.Phoenix, they're down to the bottom of the barrel. They've only taken 1 win over Newbie, so the best they've got is maybe they can have a higher rating than the TI4 champions. But other than that, looking over at CDEC here, they have 2 games ahead. They have Newbie as well as the one we see before us here, MVP.Phoenix. So assuming they win this one, they have a really good shot, like I would say like 60-70% a chance of being in the tiebreakers. eHome does have to take a loss, and that's going to make it so that they are still equal at 5 wins, but they have a pretty good shot there. But if they win both games, they're pretty much guaranteed to be in the tiebreakers, which is what, at the very least today, they came into looking for. They're like, okay, as long as we can make it through and not be eliminated by default, as long as we can fight for it, that's what they need here. So they don't want to leave it up to chance. CDEC, they really want to make this count, but looks like we do have a remake real quick.
Yeah,
so
I've already hopped myself into the new lobby, so while you go ahead and get readjusted and set in, sorry folks, it looks like I would assume maybe they had the wrong first pick or something, and they immediately recognized that, and we're going to have a remake. But I do want to give shout-outs to everyone coming by. I know there's been a ton of action. We're not just talking Dota. The Super Bowl has just concluded, and I heard that went out with a pretty big bang. There's a big Super Smash Brothers tournament happening right now, and of course, on the BTS mainstream, there's probably the most hyped group stage match of the whole tournament. Team Secret right now is taking on Evil Geniuses. So for everyone out there with your multi-Twitches, your multi-monitors, thanks for keeping it up and supporting here. I mean, this could very well be the best match of the group stage. Hell, they could have a stomp over there, and we could have like 4 BTS moments in this one. You really never know with Dota. It could be a big deal. So with that, here's the schedule. You're looking at it right now. Like I said, there's 6 heats, and we're over here on the far right. To lead things in, we got CDEC versus MVP, but then we have a lot of really nice matchups coming your way. Our second match here that me and Blaze get to do is Vici Gaming versus Big God. That's going to be a really nice one. Vici Gaming right now are about the tied for second, third position at 10-2. Big God are just nipping at the heels at about 9-4. eHome versus MVP is going to be a crucial match for eHome to stay alive. EG versus Big God is a huge standout match. eHome versus Rave is probably going to be another super important match for either tiebreakers or who's going to be eliminated. And then to round out the scheduled night, Hellraisers versus Tong Fu. So Blaze, we have a lot of good action. You know, we might not see a lot of faces in the seats right now, but I assure you there's plenty of awesome Dota coming the way.
Definitely, and it's almost all the matches that we're going to be casting here, especially you, obviously. I'm only here for the first 2, but throughout the night, you're going to be covering a lot of games that are very consequential to who's going to be eliminated. And really, that's what the group stage is defined. Like the upper bracket, lower bracket, that's a really big deal for the top tier teams to make sure that they're in the upper bracket. They get that second life, and they might get the easier ride to the finals where they don't have to give as many strats away. But for some of these tier 2 teams who feel a little bit intimidated by their opposition, they just want to make it through. And yeah, for eHome, Rave, CDEC, all of them are just going to be clawing tooth and nail to finish positive in these series and make their way through with tiebreakers or without. But we do have the second host on our hands, so hopefully we got a draft coming up soon. And specifically for MVP.Phoenix, since they have a little bit more freedom here, I hope they really try something interesting. They bring something new to it, and they see what they can you know, obviously the Korean draft is a little bit different, and I see a lot of potential with some of the interesting picks they've been running.
All right, and with that, perfectly on cue, we hop back in to a new draft, and the bands are already coming out. And without surprise, CDEC, they know Phoenix. You got to get that Warlock ban in there. These guys have been pioneering the Warlock since the olden days. I remember, I mean, I guess you can't even call them olden days, but I remember back during TI4 qualifiers, they were really making a name for themselves when they continuously ran that Warlock and had such big pushing strategies, whether it's, with the Jakiro, with the Death Prophet. It just seemed like they were able to go on an all-out assault, taking objectives. And mind you, this was before they added in the recent changes where you can get the free refresh on the glyph after taking down a tier 1, so they did have to adjust their game quite a bit and trying to find their new groove here. They might consider going up for the Axe right here. It's been something that they tend to fall back on when they don't have access to the Warlock, and there it is right on cue. It seems pretty standard, but we'll see if it boasts well for them here in the matchup against CDEC.
Yeah, hopefully it does. Obviously, initiation is the key for a lot of the plans from MVP.Phoenix. They like to build around team fights and winning lanes, and Axe can accomplish both those quite effectively when he gets the right matchups. So, the one interesting thing I see is the ban out of the Shadow Fiend. It was very, very popular yesterday in particular, but throughout this entire tournament, he's been the one that kind of came out from a dark horse position and just went to be a leader of the pack here. Actually, he was first to pick ban rate at day 4 of DAC. Thanks, Dota, for some stats, but we got 100% pick and ban rate for him. He doesn't make it through a single draft on day 4. Was a little understated in day 3, the day before yesterday, but still, I mean, 78.6% rate at that point is just pretty insane. And the reason why I think he's being so prevalent is not only CDEC, they could really be utilizing him in a great way because they have some great core players, but in general, he just synergizes so well with a bunch of heroes that are already popular. He's able to really dish out the damage on top of things, and even the negative base damage that he provides with his ultimate. That debuff actually is a pretty big deal against the most popular cores in the metagame, but we're not seeing him here. We're going to be seeing Juggernaut Lion, which is a pretty well set of roles here. I mean, the Lion, I would say, is the best all-around support right now with the buff that he got in 6.83, and Juggernaut, although he did experience a recent nerf, he is still very dominant, especially in the right hands.
Yeah, and I'd have to say, if for each tournament or big league that we get to see a new hero flourish, I feel like at TI4 it was like the Razor, Skywrath Mage, and Faceless Void combo, which we're going to actually see Skywrath here. For this one, it's without a doubt the Shadow Fiend. Star Ladder, I think it was all Axe, but it's just neat that we get to see these new heroes really come into the limelight at the point where they're 100% picker bans. So it's just crazy to see how Dota can be that way. But here we go, MVP.Phoenix. They grab what is probably now considered a bit of an unorthodox support at this point. Skywrath Mage, though, he has heavy burst potential, great move speed, insta silence, and with Axe by his side, he has respected lockdown that a Mystic Flare can really do a number. So CDEC Gaming grabbed one of the other powerhouse cores getting that Jug, and they followed it up with another tremendous support right there neck and neck with Vengeful Spirit, who hasn't picked up yet, mind you, is the Lion. So, all right, this is a good 1-2 punch coming out from both sides.
Yeah, I like the Skywrath pick here. It's actually, in my opinion, a counter to Jug as far as the support goes. Yes, he's very squishy, like low HP, low armor, so an Omnislash will kill him. But as long as you're good at managing your Ancient Seal, there's no way a Juggernaut should get in range to Omnislash. It was reduced cast range, and the Skywrath Mage has the instant silence. Generally speaking, you should be getting the jump on him. Actually, a combo I've been running a lot in my CM games is running Skywrath and Chaos Knight. So even if he does get the ulti off, you have a lot of illusions to tank that. But most of the time, it's going to be a quick Chaos Bolt into Mystic Flare and somebody dies. But in this case, it should be the Blink Call. Blink Call, Mystic Flare still providing a lot of burst damage, and that will most often be enough to put him in Culling Blade range, which is going to build a lot of momentum for MVP.
So we're going to go ahead and dig into the second wave of bans here. MVP.Phoenix, they eliminate the Medusa, and then they follow it up with the Batrider takedown, which a lot of these Eastern teams have really been really big on picking up. So CDEC have to kind of go elsewhere for their off-lane grab, whether it be that Tidehunter or, well, we'll see. TA also being a ban. That one is pretty peculiar to me. Nothing really stands out that MVP are just kind of itching at the idea of going for an MVP, but maybe CDEC are looking to build up a mid laner that TA could really take advantage of. Anything really popping out to you why there would be a TA ban here about the second phase? That just seems pretty interesting to me.
It does imply that, well, one thing is Mikasa really respects the TA. He's a player who likes to snowball and build heroes that go very active on the mid lane, and he plays a tremendous TA. So maybe just respecting the cores of MVP Phoenix. We've seen so much work done by Forev and March and QO as far as their overall like core play, and QO in particular likes to play those kinds of heroes too. Slarks and TAs abound with him. So I would definitely say that it's respecting the Korean core play. The Ember Spirit, the TA, both very prominent in the hands of MVP Phoenix. So they've done some research, and although they could manage it with their heroes, it's just something they don't want to do, knowing how prominent MVP Phoenix can be with those particular picks.
So we're gonna have a Naga game on our hands here. It's looking like a core Naga. I mean, I guess it could be either way at this point in the draft, but more than likely, potentially the maybe Naga happening here. So looking to kind of do that more traditional style like we saw from LGD when they took on Hellraisers. Except this time they do have the Jug, so they already have a dual core coming on out. CDEC could be looking to put together a pretty greedy lineup. Even Lion really succeeds once he gets that Blink Dagger. In fact, I believe it was Nahaz who put up a recent stat that Lion has his best record later into the game. Even the 40-minute plus mark, that's when he really strides. So he's a hero that does require to really come online. But look at this. This guy's been resurfacing quite a bit as of recent here, even in the matchup between Na'Vi and IG. Treant Protector being grabbed, and a lot of people feel that he could be a small answer to like the early aggression of a Jug.
This is interesting. The most times I've seen the Treant recently, it's been coupled with a Phoenix, which I think is a really strong hero in general, but not against a Song of the Siren. Song of the Siren is a hard counter to the Egg, the what is it, Supernova, and I don't feel like the Axe Treant will cover that as well as they would. So hopefully they don't go for their namesake here, MVP Phoenix, because I think the Naga would have their number on that. But other than that, it's just a really good overall support for building up durability. It's going to make it so Omni Slash isn't always going to be an instant kill on just finding a random hero by itself. And one cool thing is if the Juggernaut is able to maybe get a spin-off, you can still lock him down with the Overgrowth after the fact. So that's a nice thing. If you silence him in the first place, you can force a Manta style usage, which he's probably going to be picking up pretty early, and then the Overgrowth can follow after that if he's in the right position. Otherwise, it's just for good rotations. I mean, roaming around, the Skywrath, the Treant, they don't have a hard stun, so you can technically TP out, but if you have good core heroes that you're ganking and good lanes to move about against, then generally speaking, you should be finding some kills.
CDEC now move on to what looks like their mid lane matchup here. We got the Brew coming out. A hero that was usually first pan, first pick worthy seems a lot more situational at this point. Now with the recent surface of a Shadow Fiend, it seems like he's been kind of put off on the side temporarily, but now he's back and in the hands of CDEC here. He's going to be that mid lane bouncer trying to control the mid game period and allow Naga to really flourish, but I'm still seeing a lot of heroes here on the side of CDEC that could require a lot of resources. And in response, doesn't take much time from Phoenix. They picked the Storm Spirit here, so potentially Blaze, we're seeing a Storm Spirit Brew matchup in the mid lane.
Yeah, the most important thing here is the emphasis on silence and control. Like, you look at all four of MVP Phoenix's heroes, and they can really limit heroes like the Juggernaut. You get the Orchid up early for Storm Spirit, you get the Ancient Steel as early as you want it for the Skywrath, and then you can always follow it up with things like the Leech Seed, the Call, the Overgrowth. They can really limit the options of CDEC in a lot of their fights, but this Silencer pick is so damn smart. This is absolutely destructive to a lot of CDEC's intentions. Anytime Axe goes in for a call, he's looking to be followed up on with the Storm Spirit, and that's just not going to be an option if the global is waiting ready. Now, the Silencer always has to mind his position, play very carefully, but when you've got a defensive song and a defensive global silence, there's no circumstance where you should be picked off in full. Like, obviously, if it's 3v1, you're going to die, but if it's a team fight they don't want to take, they can pick and choose their fights very carefully.
Yeah, I love the Silencer grab here. Whether it's a jump in from Max or a jump in from Storm Spirit, hopefully he's on the back lines, not looking to get caught out, but a simple slam of the R button and things could change dramatically. And it's not like Storm is typically your big BKB kind of a holder, but he might need to consider it in this case. Otherwise, he could be rendered pretty much useless. Skywrath Mage is going to not get a whole lot off, and same with the Treant Protector. They need to think pretty hard here about their fifth pick.
Oh yeah,
my
baby.
Goodness. Okay, Ursa is going to be the final grab. March instantly gets control of it. Boy, oh boy, Blaze, what is Ursa going to bring to the table here for Phoenix?
Well, it really depends on how well CDEC are prepared to kite him. If they're not practicing against Nursa, if they're not really respecting how much damage he can really output, he can completely screw them over. But they've got Lion, and if Naga skills Ensnare, that she's got a little bit of Kite. The Brewmaster, obviously, with the Drunken Haze and Clap, they should be able to get away from him. The idea here, though, is MVP.Phoenix, if they get a Leech Seed on anybody, they'll have so much slow and so much control that the Ursa will do everything he wants. I talked about those first 3-4 picks having a ton of control. Ursa's the one to follow it up with damage. Control without damage is kind of useless, but Ursa, he packs some of the hardest punches you can draft for your team, and he's not really hard countered by the Silencer. Like, he casts a single spell, and that's it for the rest of the fight. So, yeah, he'll be involved early. He'll force objectives like towers and Roche very nicely, and the big deal here is CDEC counters. I mean, they do have the ability to shut him down with a lot of their spells, but it's not guaranteed.
Level 1 Roche MVP, go, 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 go!
Oh, if only, but no.
I know. We haven't seen one yet in DAC. At this rate, it doesn't look like we will ever see one in DAC, but one could always hope for wishful thinking. But it looks like we're just going to have a bit of a subtle start right here. See, that could just kind of peek in just to be a little bit of extra cautious here. But here we go. It's just heat number 1. We got CDEC taking on MVP.Phoenix. MVP.Phoenix, they're at the bottom of the barrel, unfortunately, for DAC. But CDEC, they have a little bit of life, and they can hold on to more life if they're able to put together another win in hopes of putting themselves up at least into the lower bracket, those best of ones. As long as, well, the other teams, and depending upon how they perform, they'll have a better chance. But we'll lead things in here with our introductions. I'll go for MVP.Phoenix on your Radiant side. We got Heen, who's going to be playing your support Treant Protector. March is going to be playing Fuzzy Wuzzy, the Ursa. QO is going to be looking to go off the rails on his Storm Spirit. Along the top, you're going to see Forev playing your Axe, and that will leave Ryzen playing your support Skywrath Mage.
Looking over at the side of CDEC, we've got Aggressive on the Brewmaster, running on the mid lane, possibly, but I think it's actually more likely going to be the off lane unless they aggro try. Anyways, we've got Maybe. He's going to be running on your solo mid Naga Siren. It looks like he'll be getting the Bounty Rune for a very early bottle, unless they give it to Garter, who is going to be running on your Lion Boots first. Q is going to be on your Silencer. He is supporting, so it's going to be kind of slow going for him, but he will be able to do enough just when he hits level 6. Top lane, for sure, is going to be Mikasa on the carry Juggernaut. And, yeah, that just leaves you to wonder how well this Brewmaster will do. If he gets caught out by a Leech Seed and a Concussive Shot, maybe an Orb of Venom will be picked up, it's going to be difficult for him to leave anywhere near the tower.
Yeah, we'll see. And already the early value point, that Drunken Haze for the Brew. It's like March is all dependent on just right-clicking creeps. He doesn't have the benefit from maybe big nukes unless he's trying to get something done with Earthshock. So that's a coin flip's chance that he'll even get the last hit. This is an early boost for your Brew. But here comes in from behind. Ryzen wants to try to zone the bear back. At least so that he can try to get a little bit of help. But hey, there's a little Drunken Haze before I go. And on the other side, though, Axe, he's not going to have a good time. He's going against a support Silencer who will just be able to easily zone him back. Plus, you have a Lion constantly hiding in the dark. He just makes what I have to imagine being the smarter play and just going to the jungle and finding farm there.
Yeah. Overall, I prefer CDEC's draft, and I think it has more potential throughout the entire game. But for these lanes, I actually really like what MVP's got, because the Axe can actually go to the jungle and find good farm there. The Brewmaster doesn't really have that option. And because he only has the Drunken Haze, he actually can't duel with Raisin. Raisin can use his 375 movement speed, not have to worry about a single spell from the Brewmaster, and just use his entire mana pool to harass this Brewmaster back. One other unique aspect of Drunken Haze is since it's AoE, it actually will hit the creep wave that the Ursa is standing upon, and it'll push out the wave. That and the fact that poles aren't blocked means the creep wave is always going to be away from Aggressive, and he's probably not going to hit level 3 within the first 5 minutes of the game.
Heavy trades coming out here. Ryzen, even with no more mana to work with, knows that Heen is nearby, who has yet to invest a point, whether it's going to be into the Leech Seed to go for a kill, or if he needs to quickly go into the Living Armor to help someone out. 2-minute rune pops up. Sorry, buddy. Ryzen's going to be taking that one. Brew has to step on back. Still trying to get to that level 2 point, but this is crucial timing right now for March to get up ahead of this Brew so that he can just maintain dominance in this bottom lane.
Yeah. One thing I guess they're lucky about is that the regen rune that spawned top for Naga was not down bottom. Raisin's going to deny himself to the neutrals here, but he did lose a little bit of gold there. Just a smidgen, about 60 gold, unreliable, but it is still something that he just felt was more valuable than walking all the way back to base. We do have a smoke gank on mid here, though, and they can lead with the Hex.
QO got to be careful with his positioning here, and well, with top lane Axe not being there,
Ooh,
I hope
bottom
he's calling
too.
the lane, but multiple engagements happening to make the go onto Aggressive on the bottom. At that moment, this could be your first blood. It will be, and meanwhile on mid lane, they make the go onto QO, and that's going to be the second blood. When everything is said and done, it's CDEC with a 2-1 advancement here, and well, I think this will work out pretty split down the middle for both sides. I mean, March is the true core here for MVP, and did he actually get the last hit? He did, so big boost for him. But now maybe has free roam in this mid lane to work with, and he did not get the last hit. So slight edge, I'd have to say, for MVP.
Yeah, the one thing is you do get the Glaives of Wisdom aspect away from the Storm Spirit. He loses 2 intelligence and the Silencer gets 2. But the fact that it was first blood on Ursa, and the fact that CDEC supports committed a smoke to get there rather than just the Scarlet putting a TP, it's definitely better for MVP, but Ursa is still obligated to do something with this farm. Phase boots and the Ring of Basilius, the wave is pushed out. He pretty much has full control of the lane, and this actually gives an opening for Raisin and Heen to rotate. For now, they'll make their way to level 3, but once they get that extra level of potency, I think they should probably make a rotation.
Yeah, they can make a go on to maybe before she gets her level 6, if that's going to work as far as timing goes, so she doesn't have that song to bail out with. QO, I know, wants to get his own level 6, and you can almost say the same for the side of CDEC. They wouldn't mind getting one more rotation in and taking down that Storm Spirit before he becomes a lot harder to get a hold of, at least until Silencer, gets his level 6. But, Aggressive throws out the Drunken Haze. QO, though, is going to be able to get that rune, and Ryzen's considering going on a pursuit here, just more bullying him back, I suppose. But quietly in that top lane, Mikasa continues to farm on his jug. He's 25 and 15 on CS.
Yeah, I think the Ursa can do a little bit more with the farm here, but obviously we've seen what a Jug can accomplish in general, and he's going to look to push the tower pretty soon. Actually, you look at the Juggernaut skill build, it's pretty interesting. 1-0-1. It's not even the 1-1-1 build. He's just, I don't even need to push towers. I don't need this healing ward. And he'll just kind of wait till level 6, has a lot of stats under his belt. But in the meantime, the bottom lane is going to be pushed heavily. The Basilius is on, the Overpower is ready, and there's no way Aggressive can hold the tower by himself.
Not dishing the concussive shot. There it is with the silence. Immediately the rotation is going to come, and MVP say we got to go. But Mikasa shoots on
nice
in.
double.
And nice double stun comes out from Dogger, plus the clap. March is going to get sheeped up, and he will be brought down. Good grab and rotation from CDEC. Living Armor is actually going to be going on Ryzen, but Ryzen is not going to be getting away. It's a lot of rotations from CDEC, but they profit big, taking down 2 and now putting ahead themselves 4-1 all day.
Yeah, that's absolutely immense. Being able to actually get the Jug kill on to the Ursa just trades their net worth so dramatically. I mean, yes, Ursa will still have a decently timed Vladimir's, but the Juggernaut's going to be able to move in towards a ton of farm accelerators himself. The Mask of Madness most likely to come out there. But we do see March actually making his way up top. Q could just die here. He's going to try to sell for a TP scroll. No, not even for the side chop. Knows he got enough distance and will force March back.
It's a little bit of that Silencer nuke plus the curse here. Silencer's got to be one of the most annoying heroes to go against in your pub play. I mean, I play the hero now, so I know I'm really pissing people off across the globe, but he's just so good and potent in the early zonage. That's why you see the Axe bail out so early. And, well, let's see what he's doing. Now he's bottom lane for Revis, and he's got 400 gold after picking up the Tranquils here. This might be the tipping point, or at least what MVP could be counting on to bring it back here. Getting the Blink Dagger on your Axe could certainly help boost up MVP's morale quite a bit, because losing March before in the bottom is a bit of a struggle. Plus, you have to consider they're on Radiant side, so making their way to the Roche Pit is not as easy.
They do get this nice ward up, though, and that's going to enable them to be active in that area. Nagasarm will probably skill her ultimate at level 7. Might be delaying it to level 8, but that would be risking the fact that they can't really control the Roche engagements. They don't know what maybe has skilled, but they know that she is pretty low on mana. Only has 1 or 2 spells to work with, and they'll just go right in. If they get the silence out of the stun, yes, they will bring her down. That was with song or without. She didn't have a chance.
Yeah, that was good and efficient right there. Plenty of silence from Vortex. There's not much you can do. Q's a little late. He comes in, throws off a casual little curse, but it is MVP who get a successful pick on a very big target. But the problem is with CDEC's lineup is where they got one core farming it up, there's someone else out there in the world farming pretty big. That's Mikasa right now, and he's on the way to getting a hold of that Mask of Madness in pretty good time. And at that point, they themselves could even consider making a go at the Roche before MVP have anything to say about it. But like you said with that ward, it could be tricky. They're making a go on bottom, though. Aggressive could be in trouble here. He's walking away. He's not 6 yet. Doesn't have mana anyways for the split, but it looks like they want to make a go at this tier 1 tower. And with Q rotating in, it's enough to push him back. At least
It is
for
in
now.
deny range now, but they have to deny it quick or it's going to go to the Ursa very abruptly. They will finish it off here. The last hit comes through, and up top, Mikasa is now level 7. Still going stats, though. Healing Ward is overrated in his mind, and he's just going to say, bring this tower down with auras, with heals, without, doesn't matter. And he's going to be doing some good work to it, but not nearly as directly as what we saw down bottom.
I imagine that when they do maybe consider going for the Roche, he'll probably get the 1 point there. But knowing that he doesn't really have anyone to engage, no need to go into no need to go extra into the Blade Fury. And like you said, he's on his own, so the push is kind of meh. So he's just doing what he's got to do, predicting out the matchup here. Heen's going to get a little bit of solo farm time on his Creon Protector to maybe get that level 6, at least level up the living armor that much more, because that could be a fight turner in itself. But with that said, it's going to be a bit of a calm right here. Ryzen's going to look to scout things out, and oh, look at this. It's time. MVP go right for the Roche here. March jumps in. He's got the Phase Boots, Morbid Mask, and Bassi. He feels like that's going to be enough to get the job done.
Yep, Ursa's been off the map for a decent little bit here, so they might suspect, but they're not really in a position to contest. There's no Song of the Siren up. Juggernaut's just focusing on his lane mostly. Did just get the Mask of Madness, but at most that means he's probably looking for a gank on mid, like a Hex in Earth Spike into an Omni Slash. That could work, but as far as actually going into the pit here, it's just going to be too late, I think.
I think they want to go to the pit themselves. Now, Silencer's able to take down the Treant Protector you see there in the top lane, but I think CDEC are going to be in for a rude awakening. I think they're planning on doing it themselves. It's going to be Pop. They have an Omni Slash. They'll jump in. Like, and it's a slaughter. It doesn't take much whatsoever. Just 2 slashes of that Omni. They get a nice special there. And the Roche. You couldn't have asked for a dream case scenario for
Did he just
CDEC.
deny the Aegis? He just killed the Aegis. I think that was just a bitch slap in the face of MVP. I don't know. Like, that is a huge confidence booster, but I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. They'll never know, I guess.
I think he might have accidentally, right? Like, I mean, I don't know if he can be that confident this early.
With or without Aegis, that was a huge coup.
Yeah,
Bottom line, that was just insane. Like, you can't get that big of a gold swing unless you're, like, stealing a quadruple ancient stack from a gyrocopter or something. I don't know. Like, nothing like that can happen before the 10-minute mark. Forev will be able to pick up his Blink Dagger, but getting another kill on the Ursa, freebie on the Skyrise, and most importantly, finishing off that Roche, which had,
they jump on the Garter.
He has the finger!
Oh
my gosh,
man.
He gets a kill on him too! Global Silence.
That
helping
silence
him out,
factor,
Tyron.
man. Q is just on it. They make the call, and oh boy, MVP. One to another. That is a huge drop for them, and just like that, a 4K net worth advantage for CDEC. That is just a disaster. Going into the pit, I'm sure even CDEC were so surprised. I mean, surprised enough that he just kills the Aegis, but instant double kill, Roche take. Now the jump coming out from Kyo, thinking he has the easy takedown on the Lion, who is level 8 now. And just you can't forget about that silencer. And because he brought down Heen earlier, it definitely helped him get a big XP boost. And now because of it, he had the global. And MVP, man, they are going to have their backs against the wall early in this matchup. And I think there's going to be a lot more pressure here on Forev to get that Blink Dagger, which he does have. This is going to be one of their lone hopes to keep themselves in the game.
Yeah, but the Brewmaster just picked up his. The Naga is farming extremely well. Very little pressure on her. She did die once, but I mean, she's still banking over 2,600 gold. I really feel like the entire game hinged on that Roche. I mean, we'll have to see, but right now it's just a dramatic loss, and we're actually going to see he maybe go down. Will pop his ultimate, but if maybe he wanted to, he could exchange his. I guess he doesn't have to go for that aggressive play when he could just force Heem back to base and start pushing again. But one thing I want to talk about that Roche attempt is that the actual stacks coming in from the Ursa there, the Fury Swipes had stacked up to 450 bonus damage on Roche, and a couple of bashes had come through against him in the tail end of that attempt. So I kind of feel like if there was a little bit more RNG on the side of MVP, they could have finished that Roche in time. They still definitely would have died to the Omni Slash and the Lion coming in, but at the very least they would have gotten the Roche kill and the Aegis.
Fortunately, though, that's not the case, and that damn Ice Frog and his RNG doesn't work out for MVP. And with that, they secure a tier 1 on the top lane for CDEC. And MVP now moving around, eyeballing this bottom lane quite a bit. Ryzen waiting behind the trees. They want to make a go at Garter. Vengeance for QO, I suppose, but this is not going to be easy. Forev is still trying to make the debut of his Blink Dagger here, but I think what it looks like they'll do is have March push up the lane towards the tier 2, hope for a CDEC rotation, and make the jump. But at this point, Global Silence is back up. Song of the Siren's back up. Finger's going to be up. Omni Slash is there. CDEC have their
Dire's
full
bottom
kit and
tower is
caboodle
under
at the ready
attack.
for any sort of engagement.
Yeah, and they're smoking up. They're going to try to go for a surprise attack. Maybe he's focused still on farm. He's so close to Sacred Relic, it's not worth his time to smoke. So he will just break out of it, and the Observer Ward knows where he is positioned. But this smoking still might work for the side of the Dire when it comes to invading the jungle here. Aggressive, he has a split available, and yeah, they get the global.
Global, they catch out March at that same time as well. Ryzen's able to take down Garter, but they get the better trade right there, taking down that core Ursa. So a 1-for-1 when it's all said and done. Simultaneous action breaking out there, and they still have eyes on Q here.
Radiant's
Forev
middle tower is
waiting,
under
jump
attack.
in. The call's going to be there, trying to get a couple of spins, but with the help of Ryzen, they get it down. No dunk necessary, but oh god! He eats a big ult, and he gets another double kill!
Oh, that's incredible. That jump through. Oh my goodness, that is absolutely insane. Obviously, he is level 11, so he gets the extra slashes, and he got a couple of crits in there with the 25%. It's pretty reliable, but jeez, can anything go right for MVP right now? I mean, they got a kill on the line, but what do you do?
Or can anything go wrong for CDEC at this point? They have just been handed over so many little sweet treats. They get the nice pick on Ursa, and Mikasa
Dire's
gets a double
top
kill
tower is
again,
under
the
attack.
second time this game with an Omni slash. Poor little Skywrath Mage just
Dire's
wasn't far
structures
enough
are
away to
fortified.
make his escape. And well,
Radiant's
now
bottom
your
tower
Jug,
is
Mask of
under
Madness,
attack.
already Yasha in hand, and plus
Dire's top
1,800
tower
gold.
is under
He
attack.
farms on up. His net worth above the Naga, who'd been free farming for the majority part of this game. Already has the Relic. MVP, they better hope for a miracle, it feels like at this point. It's only 14 minutes in, but they are so down in the dumps. They need to start maybe collecting tier 1s and just hoping for anything at this point.
CDEC have just played this game so smoothly. He's going to go for a very nice aggressive ward here. You wouldn't be able to really see this coming because of the Nature's Guys allowing him to place it. So they have two very nice wards, and they can start ganking heavily to try to shut down either the Jug or the Nagastein, who are very reliant on farming the jungle, but they just don't have the levels for it for the most part.
Like, he's there.
This
A really good jump. They might get this bounty on Mikasa. They certainly will. Ryzen's the one to pick it up. An extra 488 gold. CDEC, they are immediately on the move to see if they can catch out anyone. But hey, that's a really good hit job there from MVP. Heen, under the Nature's Guys, was able to set that one up, and they profit from that. A small boost plus the minor rubber band factor is a step in the right direction for MVP.
Yeah, they really needed the experience from that. I mean, this is a level 12 Jug above everybody else, and they had a couple supports involved in that one, so very nice. The reason that actually succeeded is because Q's Silence Global was still on cooldown for about 20 seconds, and of course the Naga, she's focused on farming, she's not always in a position to respond. So they do lose out on the Juggernaut, a very big kill, losing out on that streak. But in the end, this Manta style is still going to come out on the Jug very, very quickly, and that will nullify the Orchid that hasn't even been picked up yet by QO.
Yeah, but she's still trying to throw it together. Looks like he's just finishing his second Oblivion Staff, which is en
Radiant's
route.
middle tower
But when
is under
QO
attack.
is trying to get one thing going, you're looking at the other side. Garter just got his Blink Dagger on Lion. Eesh, that is rough. Now you got that instant engagement here. Not even
Oh, they smoked it at the
BKB
ward,
can
though.
save
That's
you,
nice.
But okay, that's good, and they ping it out. MVP know this is happening. They got to try their best to take advantage of this bit of space and time. They could head towards the bottom, find farm there. March is already down there right now, but don't afford to get caught out here, QO. He knows, they should know this is coming.
He might not know about the Blink Dagger, though. They might not have checked that inventory. They know the Brew Blink, but the more important one is that Blink Hex, and either way, they're just going to camp the rune, pick it up, and maybe make their way towards mid, because that's actually the only place they've seen heroes in a recent period of time.
They're scouting out from above here, but they got those blinks. Forev's nearby, smoked up on his own. Really confused to wait. Oh, they cross paths with Ryzen and get the easy kill on that Skywrath Mage. Thought he was well far and away from any sort of incoming smoke, but they have gone pretty deep to get that
Radiant's
one.
middle tower is under attack.
Yep. So, I mean, this is really rough at this point. The Ursa pick just, unfortunately, has not paid off. The one strategic disadvantage on top lane, QO will not be able to clean up his tower. Drunken Haze, it's just too hard to fight it out.
Oh, he got it!
He does get it! Are you kidding me? The Blink Hex should stop this. The Blink was on cooldown for 4 seconds, so that is going to be a nice little win for QO, and a little bit of RNG will actually be on his side this time.
Oh man, so a nice small boost, but every time I'm like, okay, MVP, this is something, this helps out. Then I click on Naga, she's got her Radiance. I go over, check out Jug, and he's got a Shadow Blade, so this is tough. These cores on CDEC, they're monstrous at this point in the game. I mean,
And he's going to probably get a kill with it. He knows where March is,
Oh, boy.
generally speaking, and He's actually going to check the side chop, which is not correct, unfortunately. But if he waits it out for the 18 seconds, then he can probably find a kill in the jungle. But I don't know if he's that patient. Either way, one interesting thing is the going for the Shadow Blade instead of the Manta. It does mean he's actually very squishy right now. If the Dust of Appearance is picked up on QO, he can initiate a pickoff and maybe even get it against the Global Silence, which would be huge. But either way, the one thing I was going to talk about earlier is, yeah, March is kind of limited strategically because Ursa is just so Roche dependent. And Mikasa does go for that jungle play. We'll see if he actually makes something of it, since he's the one with the vision into the Central Radiant jungle. But yeah, I feel that Ursa, like, if he doesn't get that Roche #1, then you can almost kiss the game goodbye. He's actually never been picked up in DAC until this game, and you can kind of see a reason behind that.
Yeah, they can fall off if things don't go according to plan. March, though, looking to dig deep and bring it back. He does have his Blink Dagger now. If he gets a whole support, it could go differently, but he's more focused on farm, while the rest of his team, they're scouting out here, up and above by mid lane. But CDEC, caution it seems like here for him as they hide by the secret shop for now and just kind of scout things out. It looks like MVP might not be fortunate enough to scout anyone out, but he is on a mission here. He'll move very close, and well, I don't know if you saw that.
Ward.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw him drop the sentry, but QO does have still another sentry in hand.
Yeah, I'm almost positive he knows that there's a sentry there, because usually when you see any hero right next to you, as in when you're in Viz, you should be checking their inventories pretty avidly. But the one thing I'll mention is, soon enough, Anaga's going to pick up a gem. She's got Radiance BOTs, which at this point can only be countered by QO mid-ball lightning jumping in with the Electric Vortex. Otherwise, Song TP will save her every time, and she is now level 11, so that's not that big of a cooldown investment.
Here you see Heen scouting out, sees both Aggressive and Garter dancing nearby, and they're going to rendezvous up with the rest of CDEC. Mikasa Shadow Blades into the pit where Roche is back once more. It was a blessing for him last time the Roche was up, but this time he's got to do it the old-fashioned way. So he will start chopping it on down. It shouldn't take much effort, and I don't know if MVP.Phoenix can really do anything, even if they were in good position to try to get something done. Maybe the hopeful QO Grand Theft Aegis, but at this point it's not happening. They're going to get this pretty easily, and it looks like CDEC will continue to build up huge momentum.
And they get the Aegis this time, which is a nice little benefit that you normally will see coming out of Roshan.
Not the deny like we saw previously.
Yeah, and they do pick up... Oh, jump in.
Oh, Garter tries to think he can go to solo kill on QO, and he's rudely surprised by an onslaught of MVP. It also forces out the global, but Juggernaut's able to get the grab onto March and take him down there on the bottom lane at the same moment. So it's a trade that does end up working for CDEC, and probably why the global was there in the first place. So with that, it's a trade, but one that CDEC are going to be happier with.
And now they've got the Aegis security on the Juggernaut, they've got the BOT security on maybe, but they will get the Orchid in, and she doesn't have a Manta just yet. Actually might go down, but the Brewmaster Disable seemed to prove sufficient.
He's so hungry for the kill, but this time the greediness will not pay off. Now they step back, and Forev able to blink out from the Cyclone, and he'll make it away. But that is now a takedown onto QO. Oh, Mikasa is a man on a mission here. Shadow Blade hoping to maybe cut off that axe.
Oh yeah, that should be pretty easy to bring down Raisin.
Oh, jump in, and yeah, it doesn't take much effort whatsoever. Mikasa is now on a killing spree with his Jug. 8-1-2, 15-6 all day. That's Boots and Travels coming on in for Naga. And like you said, the gem on hand. So they look to parade themselves down this mid lane, tier 1 in jeopardy. And they can easily spread out and scout anything nearby.
Yeah, the Geometry Slide's just going to destroy everything the Train's been trying to accomplish this game by moving around, placing sneaky wards, being invis a lot. The Illusions are going to scout him 9 times out of 10, and otherwise the main Naga will see him. And the one big question I have here is, why are the MVP supports going for these particular items? The Skywrath Mage wants to go for Atos, but he opens with Arcane Boots and 2 stays of Wizardry. So he gets a lot of damage out of his Arcane Bolt, but he also dies at 2 crits. Beyond that, he's going for the Midas. I could see this working if they weren't already so far behind, but as it is, the Nagas and the Jug are just going to spread the map. They're going to control the map, and there's very little that anything but a Blink Dagger could do.
Now I'm trying to think back to the draft itself and where we were midway through when QO picked up the Storm Spirit, and I know Naga was grabbed at that time. Maybe an Ember Spirit, which QO was very good with, could have been a better grab up for them.
Ember was a second phase ban, and they picked up the Naga immediately.
Oh, okay. Good smart on them. Garter, though, is going to get caught out right there. So MVP do get a small thing with Garter, what looked like, try to get aggressive and maybe plant some wards. No, he didn't even get that off. So he goes down, but yeah, back to the draft.
That is valuable intel. Just go ahead and pop the ultimate, but he doesn't have the reinforcements yet. Oh, not fast enough. And
They know he's nearby. Oh yeah, he's just gonna walk away, unfortunately, from that vision. Maybe they hope he'll come back that way.
To the exact spot, yeah.
No, he cuts to mid. But yeah, CDEC, if they did ban out the Ember, then go into the Naga, that's pretty smart stuff. And QO is gonna be sad he didn't have the opportunity to grab it.
Yep, really good opener by them. I mean, Jug Lion, which already is a very versatile draft. They can do a number of things with that, and obviously we've seen what Mikasa likes to do with his Juggernaut throughout most of his wins involve a Juggernaut some way, somehow, and yeah, we've seen Mikasa do some great things this game and prior. So we knew that the Jug Lion opener would be strong, but them going Ember Ban into Naga Siren, it made the draft very, very difficult, even with the Axe. Like, Axe, it seems to be like, oh, this overwhelming force, but end of the day, they weren't able to control CDEC in the early game the way they wanted to, and the Ursa Gambit hasn't paid off. They still get the Blink Dagger up on Ursa, and eventually this might still do something on Heen, but it's just going to take so much time.
While the other supports on the CDEC already have a nice, good amount of wealth working for him. Garter on his Lion now has a Ghost Scepter. He doesn't have the fear of any sort of ridiculous March Ursa, which he could cross paths with here, and he's got a level 2 finger at the ready here, so.
It's also actually really good against Storm. People underestimate that, but if you can't attack the target, you don't get your overload procs. So Wind Run and Ghost Scepters and stuff like that is actually really good against Storm.
Heen running away. He's scouted out from the gem, but now he has no more trees to hide under. There's going to be the ensnare, and well, he's going to be forced to pull out the ultimate. And with that, he gets by the tower and gets a big jump in, huge call. Gets one dunk that drops the Aegis, tries to go for the other, but the song is going to be there for maybe. And now the reincarnation comes out from Mikasa and the global to follow up. March is going to get slashed and danced all over and dominating right now from Mikasa. Forev looks to be next, but he blinks up to the high ground to get away from this one. Hopes for the cooldown here. Is the burn going to come through to stop him? He's got 5 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
he puts the dagger on cooldown for Garter, but Aggressive has one too.
Okay, well, they get up to the high ground. It's going to be a battle on the pedestal here, it looks like, between Forever and Aggressive, but he gets out! The misses, the absorption from the living armor allowed him to make the escape.
That is insane. That's new patch.
That's the new patch. Right there. Oh, beautiful stuff. But unfortunately for QO, it's not looking so beautiful. He just gets slaughtered, and it's another grab there from Mikasa. Cheeky plays indeed for MVP, but don't get CDEC wrong. They are still way ahead in this one. Now pushing past 7,500 net worth advantage. Grossly farmed out Mikasa at this point. Naga is just already got her Manta and 1,800 gold. It's saying a steep hill to climb here for MVP is just an understatement.
They're gonna have to go beyond the summit on this one, because this is really a tough game for them. But one cool thing that's gonna be coming up pretty soon is Forev picking up a BKB. Normally you look at that and you're like, okay, whatever. But in this case, it actually gives them a second way to cancel Naga's Song TP. Because she's going to be level 16 soon, and she'll disengage every single fight she can with Song of the Siren and BOTs. She'll Manta Style out of the Orchid if she needs to, and she'll just go on her merry way. But if you have a BKB up on the Axe, you can actually blink into the Song and still taunt her when she's trying to TP out. So you don't just have to have the Storm go for YOLO Ball Lightnings to make that happen.
We'll see if that's going to work out the way they draw it up on the board here. CDEC, though, they're not looking to wait around. They begin their pressure here towards the bottom lane. They're ready to take some tier 2 towers and claim even more of an advantage right here. MVP trying to itemize with what scraps of farm they got here. Looks like March is throwing together his Ogre Club, trying to get the start on his own BKB. And there you see BKB is going to be complete on your Axe. Will Tree get some Arcane boots with a little bit extra substance of being able to get out that big ultimate. But CDEC take down that tier 2 on bottom and continue to move on in. MVP are out the other side here towards this top lane. Maybe thinking they can make it go on to maybe himself, but at that point it's her already on the way out and Forev's on defensive duty here on the bottom.
I actually think that with all these 3 BKBs that are coming up, Ursa being the last one to acquire his, actually we're going to have a bit of a fight on our hands here.
Yeah, Ryzen is going to be caught out. Big stun. Finger comes out on QO, and they get a 2-man drop right there. MVP trying to go on the aggressive and hopes that maybe they could scout out another opportunity, and Mikasa has his own opportunity, making it go into March. Living Armor's going to be there, but Omni Slash can only save him for so long. Unstoppable Mikasa Juggernaut in this one. 3170 gold for him, and it's 21-8 for
Radiant's
CDEC.
bottom tower is under attack.
It's a real shame because if they weren't so far behind on kills, I would actually say that MVP have a decent chance in the mid game. But they're going to have 3 BKBs pretty soon that counteract Silencer, Naga, and the Brewmaster to a large extent. And I actually think they have a lot of potential to initiate and control and to do what they meant to do in the first place. But because it's just such a dramatic level and net worth advantage on the side of CDEC, they can break high ground despite being up against what I would say the superior lineup in the mid game.
Keen trying to wait in the shadows nearby as CDEC slow siege their way, bringing down that tier 3 to almost half-life. But hey, there's Heen. Benefit of having that Treon Protector. He'll try to rejuvie that puppy back up. That means top lane's now in contention. Maybe he's already there on the scene, looking to scout out with those illusions. Is there a nearby tree around here?
Radiant's top tower
We're going to
is
find
under
out. But
attack.
with that, CDEC just kind of holding control here. And as far as the Roche clock, they got about another minute and a half. At that point, maybe sneaking in another tier 2, and then they can step back, grab the Aegis, and in their mind, hope to go for the final blow.
Oh gosh, hard on Naga.
As if life wasn't hard
Radiant's
enough.
top tower is under
Well,
attack.
if you have her locked down for about 8 seconds, the Ursa's Fierce Swipes will stack up enough that no amount of HP will survive, let you survive.
Well, QO did
Initiation's the other way.
yeah,
Every time.
caught it, tried to BKB to ball on out of there, but it's too late at that point. Mikasa looking for March here. Doesn't have the Omni quite yet. He hopes he can get something done. Meanwhile, deep into the base here, the Brew split. Tries to dive and create that bit of space, and maybe slips on in there. Uh-oh. Silence, global return coming out. Aggressive could be in trouble, and they take down the Brew. But with that, it's Mikasa who chops on down the axe. He now is going to be stunned up, and there's going to be an onslaught of ultimates coming out on him. So 3-for-1 trade. Base in trouble. Looks like the racks are going to go down. MVP might be forced to forfeit this one sooner than later.
Radiant's top
So we are going to be
barracks are
seeing the
under
top lane
attack.
broken through, the mid lane taking some huge hits here, and I mean this is a hyper farm Naga Siren, breaking records most likely in how much he's been able to accumulate over these 29 minutes. I don't know. At this point, it feels like MVP are just completely checked out of the game. I mean, the Storm actually probably could have survived the gank that came out up top. When he popped the BKB, he had Magic Wand, but he tried to just Ball Lightning instead. If he wands and then Ball Lightnings, the auto attacks won't kill him, but he just goes ahead and just, you know, BKB Ball out and doesn't find the escape. So yeah, it just feels like they're at this point just knowing their inevitable defeat here. This is the second to last game for them, I believe, and it is just as bad as majority of their run throughout DEC's group stage.
Yeah, real unfortunate there for the MVP kids. They had a good showing at Star Ladder. They got brought down to the lower bracket at the first round, but they had pulled up some really good upsets thereafter. And we were expecting some big things here from DAC, but it looks like they have been outmatched so far, and them and Newbie sit at the bottom, unfortunately. They still get to walk away with a good chunk of change as far as prize pool, but this seems to be the all or nothing. Hoping that CDEC are making a go for the Roche, but they see that MVP are not in their base, so they're aware, and they wait. Duo makes the jump in, trying to get a hold of one, but they can't quite get it, and Mikasa moves through to grab him behind. Well, the Courier is going to be taken down at that same moment. Heen gets annihilated. Forev trying to run away, and Mikasa will slash all the way through, and that's enough. That was the final hurrah there for MVP, and they called it quits. CDEC get the win that they really need to try to stay alive, and now they'll move from 4-9 to 5-9. Phoenix to 1-13.
Ursa couldn't even get the final Roche on. No Roche for you today, sir, and it was just a really hard game. I think the draft definitely could have worked if they had the first 2 Roches.
Yeah.
They had a very solid mid-game lineup. They built items around having momentum. Like an early Atos is actually really good on a support. The early Midas, of course, the sooner the better. So I think they could have built up, but they had this early to mid-game mindset, and they just got absolutely trounced at that stage in the game. And I think that's where CDEC is really shining these days, is just taking heroes that should be greedy and still making them so present in the early game with good rotations and good execution. So congrats to them for pushing on forward. They have a really good shot at the tiebreakers now if they beat out Newbie in their next game, and it looks like Newbie is falling as hard as MVP Phoenix right now. They are also 1-13, or about to be. it means that CDEC have a really good chance to guarantee the tiebreaker.
Yeah, you probably couldn't ask for a better couple of teams to finish off with if you're a desperate need for a couple of wins. So CDEC, it looks good for them as long as they can get those wins. And, well, for MVP, they got one more match to play as far as scrimming, practice, and getting the most you can out of DAC, I suppose. But that's going to wrap things up for our first heat. We still got more heats to come. Our next matchup here, this is going to be a doozy. We got former DK members going head-to-head. It's going to be Vici Gaming taking on Big God. Ice, Ice, Ice versus Lanham. Should be for a good time here. That's going to be happening again with myself, KotLGuy. You can catch me on my Twitter at KotLGuy, and my good buddy and co-caster Blaze. Catch him on his Twitter at BlazeCasting. We'll be back after a small break.